Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Looks like I'm in for some work today. Oh, brother. Well, do you have any ideas what I'm going to do? Yes. I'm going to start installing. I say start because I'm not sure how far I'm going to get. Start installing the bull nose trim down at the bottom of the baseboard. Okay, and I got this at my favorite hardware store, the Home Depot. And see, this stuff is kind of like, I don't know, it's not really wood, but then again, it's not really plastic all the way. I think there's some sort of wafer board material of some sort inside, but it's really flexible, and they have different things. They have different things at Home Depot. This stuff happens to be 5/8, and see how flexible this stuff is? Look at this. And you know, they had this stuff, and it's pre-finished white. That's what I liked. And I was hoping that it was going to be close enough to the same color as the baseboard that I painted. And you know, there's probably, oh, I don't know, 20 different colors of white. Now see, this stuff here is 3/4 inch. This is 3/4 inch, that same type of material. See, it's white on the backside and everything. They even have this in MDF that you would have to paint. But I thought I would try to use this stuff. And see, it's called, you know why they call it quarter round? Because it's a quarter of a round circle. That's why they call it quarter round. And this stuff in the white like this, you know, that's a full 3/4 of an inch. The other stuff is a full 5/8. And years ago, when they called 3/4 bull nose, it was really a 1/16 under, like 11/16 instead of 3/4. And you know, in this particular stuff over at the Home Depot, they even have it 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4. And you know, most people install the 3/4 inch. And usually, if you have tall baseboard, that works out really good. Okay, this baseboard isn't as tall as I've seen before. This is probably about 4.5 inch. You know, they have baseboards that go maybe up to 5.5, 6 inches tall. Had I had that stuff, 3/4 would have been fine. But see, with the OG trim up here and stuff, your flat surface is only from here down. And I thought, you know, maybe I should go with something a little smaller than that. That's why I opted to think about going with the 5/8 instead of the 3/4. And so I talked to Momi, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to install this 5/8, and I was talking to her, and I said, and I wanted to bring the 3/4 and 5/8, and I wanted to give her a choice. And I wanted to set it up there, and I thought, is that close enough to paint on the baseboard? Is it so different that it's going to make or break yourself with the thought of having to paint this? And so, what do you think? Does that look pretty close? I mean, it looks pretty close. It looks pretty close. I know it's slightly off. Okay, it's slightly off, and I told Momi, I says, hey, I don't care if you want me to paint it, I'll paint it. And had she have said I wanted to paint it, I would take it out into the garage, put down craft paper, and put 2 coats, I'd probably lightly sand it, and then put 2 coats of paint on there, and then I would paint it right down tight to the craft paper, and I wouldn't really set it up on blocks. I'd have to set it up on all kinds of blocks, you know, if I didn't want to get that edge kind of stuck down to the craft paper. And I told her, I says, that edge, you know, when I pull it up, some of the craft paper is going to stick, and I'll clean it off and stuff. And that bottom edge on the craft paper isn't going to be as clean as the other edge, because the other edge would be up in the air. You know, if I was painting this on top of craft paper, you see what I'm saying? I would paint it just like how I've got it set, like that. And then I told her, you know, I clean off the bottom edge of the craft paper and stuff. It's not as clean of an edge. And then I would put the very clean edge of the painted baseboard down, facing down onto the floor. And the top, even if it was slightly, if I had to mark it a little bit to get the paper off and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay, because then I would caulk. I'm going to caulk that top edge with caulking. And you know, that's how you would do it. And you know, here's the other thing. How are you going to install that? Are you going to nail that? Are you going to use nails? Are you going to use a nail gun? Do you even have a nail gun? I don't have a nail gun. And I wasn't going to try to borrow one from somebody or rent one or anything like that. I thought I wanted to do it a different way. I mean, I could get an electric staple gun that shoots little tiny staples and do that. But either way, I would still have holes in the baseboard every place I nailed it, wouldn't I? Then I'd have to caulk that, fill that up. And if that white is not the same color as the white paint, then I'm gonna have to paint over that. And you know, it's just one thing after another when you try to nail it. Plus, you've got to look at your floor. You've got to look at your floor and decide, make a decision. What kind of floor is it? If it's a free floating floor, and that's what this floor is, it's a vinyl floor, and it's called a free floating floor because they didn't attach it with anything. They just put it down. It's not glued to the floor or anything like that. And you have to leave a gap up against the, up underneath the baseboard to make it so it can move slightly back and forth this way, back and forth over there, back and forth that direction, this direction. They had to leave a gap. They had to leave a gap all along there. And so if you're gonna install this baseboard or this quarter round trim down next to the baseboard, you've gotta nail it or attach it only to the baseboard. You can't nail it kind of, you know, with the nail gun and nail it down at a 45-degree angle and for it to go through that and hit the subfloor down below it or hit the edge of this or anything like that. Then it voids the warranty. And so you've got to know a little bit about that too. So how am I going to install this? I've installed this way. I'm gonna explain to you right now how I'm going to do it. I've installed it like this before and it turned out really good. And do you have any thoughts and ideas? How would you go about installing this? Well, I'll tell you next. Hey, I wasn't going to add this, but this is your bonus material on the same video. See, I got another flood up here. And this one happens to be on a dimmer, you see there? And that's on a three-way dimmer. I just installed a three-way dimmer switch. Did you know they have three-way dimmer switches at the store nowadays? Here's the other three-way switch. And I recently made a video and I wasn't sure if they had three-way dimmers. That was about 3 or 4 years ago. And now they have three-way dimmers, and you only have to install the three-way dimmer switch at one location. You don't have to switch. You don't have to install at both locations if you don't want. And so that way it saves you money. You can just do the dimmer at the location that you want. You know? Okay? And so I'm gonna change that out because I know that's a regular flood as well. A incandescent, I guess I call it an incandescent because it's 65 watts. And I'm going to change that bugger. And just by turning it on that little bit has already made the bulb warm. And that's the other good thing about LEDs. Your bulbs very seldom, you can have this on for an hour and reach your hand up there and undo it because the LEDs don't generate a lot of outside heat. That's a good thing too. Okay, I'm going to turn that on, and I chose the soft white for up here too, because Momi, she wanted the soft white. And did you know? Well, you do know if you watch the first part of this video that these bulbs, you can get soft white, you can get daylight, and you can get bright white. Now, I don't know what the difference is between bright white and daylight. They're about the same, but at the hardware store, they have a little area where they've got different LED bulbs that you can turn on. You can see the difference between soft white, daylight, bright white, and they might even have a different one. See, this is what I call bright white, and all of these that we installed are a different color, and I thought Mommy would want that a bright white, and that we could dim that down here. She says, no, I like the soft white for this area as opposed to the other areas where we've got LEDs. And see, on these LEDs I installed a dimmer, and the LEDs in fact do dim down. Look at that, isn't that nice? And see, when I dim that down on this three-way over here, I can dim that over there. See there? I mean, most LEDs nowadays are dimmable, okay? I say most, and I'm pretty sure it is most, but just check at your hardware store. If you ever get a LED light fixture that you want to install, see if they're dimmable, especially if you want to dim them with a dimmable light switch, and check that out as well. There's all kinds of stuff on how to save money around the house, and that's by buying light fixtures nowadays that are LEDs. But the thing is, when these burn out, if these ever burn out in your lifetime, you can't just go down to the store and get a little bulb and replace it. There's a whole little unit inside that you have to unscrew, take out, and on some, I'm not even sure if you can. On others, like on this one here, I think there's a pad in there that you can call the manufacturer and you can reorder whatever it is on your fixture that's burned out. So whenever I install one of these LED light fixtures, I make sure I save the directions and the little informational packet so that I know I can call them if I need to. See, I've put all kinds of stuff in here for my ceiling fans, because even the ceiling fans have LED lights in them nowadays that you can dim, and that you can order new replacement parts for those too. Okay, check that out. Get rid of those 65-watt floodlights, or the 60s or the 90s. You know, they even have these going up 125 volts, even 250 volts. Check yours out and see what you can do about replacing them with the LEDs. Oh, that's funny. If you caught that. Hey, Joe, how come you haven't talked about these halogen bulbs here when you're talking about everything else? If you want to know, I'm going to make another video on that next time. Watch for it on my channel, and you'll be amazed at the amount of money you can save on halogen bulbs from now on. Replace them with LEDs? Yes. Now, what am I going to do with these old floodlight bulbs? I'm not going to throw them away. I'm going to save them. These are going to be my emergency bulbs in case I ever need them. In case an LED burns out, let's say. And I'll put those down at the bottom of this box because I still have three LEDs. I'll save those for emergency purposes in case I need to use one somewhere else, or just in case I just need to use one. If I don't have any other LEDs, I'll go ahead and put one of these in, and it will remind me that I need to go to the store and get some more LEDs. Okay? All right, that's it from here.